Today, we're going to explore something really interesting, an ancient blueprint for a kind of hope that can actually stand up to all the pressures of the modern world. And you know what? It's a framework that was born from crisis, which might be why it speaks so directly to our own time.
You know that feeling, right? That sense of just being weighed down by the constant drumbeat of bad news, or maybe by something way more personal? Maybe for you, it's the echo of broken relationships, the sharp edges of old wounds that just don't seem to heal. Or maybe it's the struggle with dreams that have kind of faded over time. Or hey, maybe it's just the sheer exhaustion that comes from feeling totally misunderstood, rejected, or trying to make a difference in a world that just doesn't seem to care. I mean, these are the heavy weights of modern life, aren't they? Loneliness, illness, financial anxiety. They can really leave you feeling like your best days are already in the rearview mirror.
So that brings us to the big question, the one we're really digging into. Is there a way to genuinely believe that the future can be different, that a better world isn't just some kind of fantasy?
Well, to find an answer, we're actually going to go way back in time, back to a period of incredible turmoil, where a prophet named Isaiah offered a vision so radical, so completely out there, that is echoed for centuries.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Isaiah is living back in the 8th century BCE, and this is a time of absolute crisis. You've got the Assyrian superpower just marching across the landscape, destroying everything in its path. This was not an era of peace, it was an age of deep, pervasive fear.
So imagine you're living in Judah. You've just watched your northern neighbors get completely wiped out, and on top of that, there's this feeling that your own society is just crumbling from the inside, full of corruption and a faith that's a mile wide and an inch deep. People knew something had to change, but they had no idea how. And right into the middle of all that despair, Isaiah drops this absolutely breathtaking vision. It's not a message of doom and gloom, it's a message of total transformation. A vision of a world where the very tools of violence are literally reforged into instruments of life. I mean, this is the core metaphor right here. It's all about redirecting our energy, our resources, our ingenuity away from conflict and toward things that actually nurture and build community. It's about going from fighting each other to feeding each other.
So Isaiah gives us the destination. He gives us the what? A world at peace. But how in the world do we get there? Well, for the how, we're going to turn to another text, written centuries later to a community that was also struggling with some pretty deep divisions.
And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? A global vision of peace is amazing, it's inspiring, but it can feel impossibly far away. How do we start building that world in our own lives, right here, right now? Okay, so fast forward a few hundred years to the 1st century CE. The letter to the Ephesians was written to this community in a big, bustling, diverse city. But they were totally bogged down by internal arguments and factions. Sound familiar? The author's goal was pretty simple. Get them to stop fighting and remember what they were all about. Now, the author doesn't offer some grand 10-point strategic plan. No, the plea is deeply personal. It's an urgent call. And really, it's an imperative, not a suggestion, to adopt a very specific way of being with one another. He calls it a worthy walk. And here's the crucial part. The text breaks it down into actual practical steps. Humility isn't about thinking less of yourself. It's about knowing you're not the judge. Patience is a kind of strength, a fortitude. And my personal favorite, bearing with one another, is this wonderfully blunt call to just put up with each other's imperfections. This is the daily, gritty work of building real peace.
And the glue that holds all of this together is this concept of agape, or love. But this is not a warm, fuzzy feeling. It's a disciplined, ethical choice to work for someone else's good, even when it's hard, and especially when you don't feel like it. It's the engine that drives unity.
So, okay, we had this grand, beautiful vision, and we have a practical path. Let's see how these two ancient blueprints combine to offer us a way forward right here and now. And here's how they fit together so perfectly. Isaiah gives us the breathtaking destination, a world with no more war. And then Ephesians gives us the daily directions to get there, the personal, moment-by-moment work of humility, patience, and love. You see? The vision and the path, they're totally inseparable. You can't have one without the other. And that brings us to the central takeaway, a really powerful idea that pulls both of these texts together. Our history and our current struggles, they inform where we are, but they do not get the final say on where we are going. But look, this isn't just some abstract philosophical idea. The need for this blueprint is urgent. I want you to consider this number, 1,371. What do you think that represents?
Well, here's the reality check. According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, that's the number of armed hate groups in the U.S. today, a huge jump from a decade ago. And if you look globally, nearly half of all countries are in declared wars. The world is still very, very much in the business of swords and spears.
And this brings us right back to the core claim of these ancient texts. The message isn't that things aren't bad, of course they are. The message is that a movement toward healing and justice is actually most present, most active, precisely when things seem darkest. It's a completely counterintuitive kind of hope. This is how Isaiah ends his incredible vision. It's not a passive hope, just waiting around for things to get better. It's an invitation to act. It's a call to find that light, even if it's just a tiny flicker in a huge darkness, and to start walking in it.
So, we're going to end with a challenge. The problems are huge, the world is, well, it's complicated. But this ancient blueprint isn't about solving everything all at once. It's about starting exactly where you are. So it asks us, where is your small patch of light? Where can you begin that worthy walk? Right now to beat just one small sword into one small plowshare.